The computer game world is not suffering from any great lack of first-person shooters these days. Despite the recent storm of doom-offs, Quarantine from GameTech is a genuine standout, or sit-out, given that you never get out of your car.
True enough. While the perspective may seem familiar, Quarantine is a whole nother animal. It adds a minor adventure element and a heavily armed taxicab to the mix and ends up feeling completely unique.
GameTech has written a long history of Kemo City, where the game takes place, to explain the rather sorry shape that it's in. Don't worry, it's not important.
All that matters is that you're a taxicab driver in an urban environment gone insane. While the general populace has not turned into vicious demons or brain-dead zombies, they have developed a strange tendency to stand in the middle of the street and blast away at oncoming traffic.
The object of the game is to get out of Dodge. You've pretty much had all you can take of this hellhole, and you try to take it on the lam.
Unfortunately, the city is entirely walled in. The only hope of escape is to make your way through the different sections of Kemo to the wharf and get on a boat. You can only go from one section to the next with special passwords.
You only get those passwords from rebellious citizens after you successfully take some of them to their destinations on time.
There's another important reason to pick up passengers, which is they'll give you cash. You'll definitely need big bucks to repair your car after a little while on the cruel Kemo roads. These guys don't know the meaning of the term defensive driving.
Well, sure, the repairs are important, but you also need to give as good as you get in the damage department. That's why I like to visit my local Weapon King to have the cab fixed up with all the latest in the technology of violence. Check out the flamethrower. To get around in Kemo City, you need to learn to use your map. Any destination you have in mind, from repair shops to passenger drop-offs, can be highlighted here. And then, when you return to the windshield view, you can use the Wayfinder to locate it.
But don't just try to drive by these arrows alone. You need the map to follow the most direct route. And if you deliver a passenger too slowly, it'll mean a reduction in your fare, not to mention threatening comments from your passenger.
If you have a CD-ROM drive, you'll get to enjoy a little more character development. I know this is important for you method actors in the audience to really be able to feel the game. To this end, the cab driver, Drake Edgewater, gets his own little music video to the tune of a Born to be Wild ripoff.
Now, this part is completely gratuitous, but the digitized video is excellent, and it bodes well for the look of the upcoming GameTech cinema releases.
Another interesting element of the CD-ROM version is that if you dump the whole program onto your hard drive, you can listen to your audio CDs while you drive.
You call that driving? No, seriously. This is a great idea, and it suits the game so well. I only wish they could have figured a way to overlay the game's sound effects over the CD music and create the ultimate virtual driving experience.
There are lots of good things to say about Quarantine, and one really annoying bad one.
I think I know what you mean, so let's both say it real loud at the same time. Copy protection. Ugh.
I do understand the need for this kind of thing. I know that the whole game can be downloaded to your buddy's computer as well as your own, but did they have to make the code this annoying?
Well, at least it has an amusing idea behind it. You look up the code on the enclosed pedestrian weight-to-impact ratio table. Sort of a splatometer.
Great, but it comes up every single time you want to play the game. It would be hard to read the chart anyway, because it's a huge grid of numbers, but on top of that, they chose to print the darn thing in black on maroon to foil the Xerox fiends.
Do you feel better now?
Yes, much. Let's talk about happy things now.
This is a very engaging game. The graphics are great and they zip right along. It's also interesting to note that despite the obvious superficial similarities, Quarantine feels nothing like a Doom clone.
Yeah, I guess it's because you have the freedom of the highway instead of being trapped in a room with a menacing thingy, but it feels like a hyped-up version of bumper cars.
Quarantine is permeated by a morbid sense of humor, as you might have guessed, but there are a few features that have no bearing on the game and are just for laughs. In addition to these wicked weapons, you can still honk your horn or let out with a robust "Up yours!" at the touch of a key.
And the best place to drive, in my opinion, is the park. It's a lot easier to take someone to their destination in record time when you hardly have to bother with roads. Drive as the crow flies. It's fun. But you don't want to do that for too long, since your battery only keeps you aloft without the power grids under the road for 30 seconds, and then you start scraping pavement and taking damage. Quarantine is a lot of vicious fun. It's the ultimate stress reliever for highway drivers. Soon you'll wish you had heat seekers mounted on your car to take care of the guy in front of you driving way too slow.